Welcome back to That Dad Guy. So, we are back to another stamp versus stamp. If you're not familiar with this format, well, myself and Snailmail with Smokey have teamed up to do these ongoing videos. We're doing them monthly now. This is going to be the third one in the installation of this series. The first one was kind of wacky. You really had to have two TVs on the go at the same time, because I would ask a question and he would answer it in his video, and then he would ask me a question in his video and it would go back to mine. So you really had to watch both of them almost simultaneously. Now, the second one, we kind of got away from that. We got into the format where he would ask me a question in my video and I would answer it in my video, and then I would ask him a question in his video and he would answer it, and I think people like that a little bit more. So we're going to go back to and continue to do it that style. So Snail Mail with Smokey and I, or you can just say Smokey and That Dad Guy, whatever you want to say. Rob and Smokey. That's what you want to say, isn't it? Well, we are teamed up again, and this time we're doing it by dates. So we are each kind of telling a little bit of story about why we're picking a certain year, and then the other person has to come up with a stamp that is from that year. That it might represent the story that they told, or it could be something completely different. So tune in, stay tuned, watch, subscribe, like, leave positive comments on both of our channels. Make sure when you're finished watching my video that you flip over to Snail Mail with Smokey. How are you going to find his video? Well, the thumbnail is almost identical. That's how we're keeping it. We're called Stamp versus Stamp, and every month we're going to put one of these out. So, Smokey, what do you got for me?
Well, Rob, I am always really excited to do these stamp versus stamp videos with you. I always learn so much about you and also about the stamps that you and I discover together. So this new challenge that we've set for each other, I think, is a great opportunity to share a little bit of our personal history, but also to dive in deeper into philately and share some really great and amazing stamps. The first date that I have chosen for you is 1907. Let me tell you why. I am from Oklahoma. I was born and raised in Oklahoma. I spent the first 35 years of my life in that wonderful state. My family has deep roots in the state of Oklahoma. My grandmother moved to Oklahoma as a child in a covered wagon. So it's a state that is always going to have a special place in my heart. And on November 16th, 1907, the great state of Oklahoma joined the Union, becoming the 46th state in the United States. And so, for that reason, I've given you 1907.
Smokey, that's some great history about your family, your connection, a little bit of Wild West in you too, I guess, with the covered wagons and the beginning of statehood for Oklahoma. Well, I've looked at 1907 too, and what else happened in 1907? Well, New Zealand became a dominion. So on September 26, 1907, the colony of Britain got its dominion. So they've got some sovereignty in it. You know, Canada got their dominion sovereignty in 1867. New Zealand got it in 1907. So that's why I've gone with this particular stamp. This stamp was issued in 1907. It is a stamp of a kiwi, very famous bird when it comes to New Zealand. It comes in Carmen Rose. It was 6 pence in value. And yeah, 1907, beautiful stamp. And a little bit of history for you.
Well, I didn't have to think very long and hard about this next date. It's 1977. I've chosen this date for a couple of reasons. First, it just happens to be the year when I was born. But that's not really the reason I chose it. The reason I chose 1977 is because that's the year that Star Wars premiered. That's the year that it all began. That's the year that the science fiction world changed forever. Who would have known with one little film, 40 plus years later, we'd still be watching Star Wars movies, Star Wars television shows, collecting Star Wars memorabilia. It has become a global phenomenon. And I know I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You're a huge Star Wars fan. So it just seemed fitting to honor the date that it all began, 1977.
Dun 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 dun. Smokey, I am your father. All right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 1977, Star Wars. Woohoo! Yeah, great year for that. And happy birthday. But I'm going to take a different switch from 1977. Yes, Star Wars is cool, but it came out, it was supposed to be a sci-fi kind of bomb. It wasn't supposed to do anything, let alone become a cult classic. But in 1977, there weren't any stamps that were issued with Star Wars on it. That didn't come till much later, so I can't show you Star Wars stamps because they didn't come out in 1977. What I can do, though, is in 1977 in Great Britain, they put out a 10-pence stamp for wildlife protection, and it had a hedgehog on it. So that dad guy loves hedgehogs because of polo. So I'm going to show you that stamp. Now, they did put out 5 stamps in this set. You can see them all here. The brown hare, the red squirrel, the otter, the badger. But we're sticking to the hedgehog. We want to make sure that they're well represented. And great stamp, great hedgehog, 1977. Good choice.
The year, 1995. I was a senior in high school, getting ready to graduate and go off to college. But a month before that would happen, on April 19th, 1995, a truck bomb exploded outside of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. 168 people lost their life, and hundreds more were injured. I was living less than 60 miles away from the bomb site when it exploded. I'll never forget that day. A couple weeks after the bombing, my family and I traveled to Oklahoma City, and let me tell you, what we saw was devastating. The reason that I've picked this date is not just to remember the sacrifice of those individuals who lost their life that day, but also in hopes that the stamp you will pick will symbolize peace, hope, and love. How, yes, we have great tragedy, but out of that, we become stronger, we become better, we become more united.
I remember that day back in 1995 when the bombing happened. Never would have thought that I'd have a connection to someone from Oklahoma all these years later. And yeah, all these terrible bombings you see happening around the world, whether bombing, shootings, the terrorist attack. You'd think by now we would have learned to stop killing each other and to coexist. 1995 too has an important year milestone to it because it was 50 years since the end of the Second World War. And so I've chosen this stamp from Australia. It's a 45-cent stamp. It is the 50th anniversary of the United Nations the United Nations, and it's the Children's Fund stamp. Endless tragedies. World War I was supposed to be the war to end all wars, and we go right ahead and do it again. And then since then, we've had countless other wars over meaningless reasons. So this is my stamp of peace. You can see the globe with all the nations on it. You can see the children in it as well. And we always say we have to do it for the children. It's going to be their planet to inherit. And what will they inherit if we keep destroying what is good around us? So, yeah, 1995 has an important meaning around it when it comes to peace, too.
Well, the next date that I've selected for you is a year that has really changed our family forever. And that is the year of 2013. In 2013, we packed up everything that we owned and we made the move from Oklahoma to Wisconsin to a small town so I would be able to pastor the church here. It has been a great experience. I remember when we first moved here, we didn't know how we were going to handle the long, cold winters. We didn't know the culture shock that we might be in for, but it has been nothing but a positive experience. The people here in Wisconsin are some of the friendliest people. They opened up their homes and their lives to us. We have made so many wonderful friends who will be friends for life here in Wisconsin. Our daughters have really flourished since we moved here. Both of them have met great men from Wisconsin and have married them. And my wife and I could not be prouder of them and could not be more happy with the decision that we made to move here to Wisconsin. And that all happened in 2013.
Well, Smokey, you must have been a real Superman to be able to pick up your whole family and move from being Sooners to Cheeseheads. And so that's why I chose this series of stamps from Canada. It represented the 75th anniversary of Superman. Canadian Joe Shuster and American Jerry Siegel co-created Superman in 1938, and they hit the comic strip world. They changed things about, represented hope and inspired young people to go on and do bigger things. People that were like Clark Kent to become like Superman. Those alter identities, those touch of glasses that makes all the difference. So moving your family, I could see that. So these stamps were domestic rate. You can see that a piece, so they were valued for within Canada. There were 5 different versions of how the cartoon character of Superman has progressed over the last 75 years. That all happened in 2013.
Well, you don't have to look far back in the timeline to get to the last date that I've selected for you. The year 2022. That's the year that my wife and I celebrated 20 years of marriage together. I bought her another ring. I got down on one knee, and we had a vow renewal ceremony that fall. It was a great day with our friends and our family, as together my wife and I reaffirmed our vows to each other and to the Lord. I say all the time that I'm a blessed man, and I truly am. One of the main reasons I'm blessed is because I have such an amazing, supportive wife. She makes me a better man. She makes me a better Christian, a better pastor, a better husband, and a better father. I cannot imagine life without her. These 20 years have flown by, but they have been the best 20 years of my life. And I thank God every day that He put her into my life. So that's why I picked this year, 2022.
You're right, Smokey. 2022 wasn't that far back, but it didn't make the task of finding a stamp easier. First of all, my Scott catalogs are from 2006, so they were of no use. I couldn't go and look at those. Also, there were a lot of events in 2022 that happened, good and bad, that I could have talked about. It could have been something political. It could have been something historical. You were celebrating 20 years of marriage to your wife, and at the same time, a lot of the countries were celebrating 70 years of Queen Elizabeth II on the throne. She had her Diamond Jubilee that year. Unfortunately, we also lost her in that year. September 8th, 2022, she passed away, which gave rise to King Charles III. So I went with these stamps. Once again, I'm kind of cheating and going with a series of stamps, but the Bahamas put out 4 stamps, a 15-cent, a 50-cent, 65-cent, and a 70-cent stamp to celebrate Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee. So those are my picks for 2022. First of all, thank you, Smokey, for once again doing one of these videos with me. Another monthly collaboration of Stamp versus Stamp. I love them so much. I'm getting to go back through my stamp albums of my father's, and I've been going through Scott catalogs and researching on the internet to find stamps that might be a little bit different. I didn't want them all to be just Canadian stamps, and I really actually hesitated about having any Canadian stamps in those 5 dates. Just one stuck out above the rest that I needed to put in there, I thought. But yeah, having a lot of fun with this series. And you guys, if you are having fun watching this, I hope you're going to switch over and look at Snail Mail with Smokey's channel next and see what he has in his video. Also look to see what years I've given him, what the stories that go along with them. And I hope you tune in again next month for it to continue. That's the hope. Yeah, I hope every day you tune in and see what videos we put out. But definitely, if you like stamps, you like philately, you like the history, our personal histories that we're adding in, and the jokiness that we do, and to go along with that, some unusual stamps maybe that you haven't seen before too. That's what we're going to try to do, is pull from different stamps talk a bit maybe about the history of them or the event that brings them out, and we'll see where we go. We're always in for something, so have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?